So last session we learnt all the basic about MySQL database. Huh? Now we need to start building database, learning all the commands of MySQL. Okay. So first we are going to understand all the tools MySQL have, the terms and the concept. I already explained one backend, how a business application works. I showed you. Now what we will do, we will take one project. According to the project, we will try to build one app. For that app, whatever database is required, we are going to design the database. So first, what we will do, we will learn how to create database and everything, and we will design according to project one. So first, today we are going to see about MySQL objects. We are going to learn about these MySQL objects. What are these objects and how we handle them? Generally, what is in MongoDB, where data is stored? MongoDB data is stored in a database. Database. In database, data is present in collection. In collection, data is in documents, right? So here, few more important terms you should know. First, basic is same. One, what is database? What is the purpose of database? It is a store. It is a store used to handle data on server. It is a store used to handle data on the server. Data is kept in database. In database. So we have database. Right. Now in MySQL, inside database, data is present in tables. So we have tables. Table. So table, it comprises of data. So data is arranged into rows and columns. Table contains structured data. It contains structured data. That means inside database, data is present in a table. So we have database and we have a table. Inside table, data is in records. Record. It refers to a row. So inside table, data is arranged in rows. Actually, row refers to a tuple that contains various types of data. A row is considered as a tuple that contains various types of data. That means in a row, you can store different type of data. A record can contain information with various types, number, string, boolean, like that. So what is a tuple? It refers to a collection of details with various types. Actually, you learnt in JavaScript array. What is array? In general, array is collection of same type. But in JavaScript, array is it is a tuple. In JavaScript, array is officially a tuple, means it contains various types of data. If a collection of various types of data is present, then we call it as tuple, right? So a row refers to a tuple. It contains various types of data. Okay, next important, you have a field. It refers to a column header in table. It refers to a column header in table. So in a row, data in a row can be accessed with reference of field name. In the row, if you want any specific data, then you have to access by using what? By using the field. Field refers to a column. It refers to a column. So we have database. In database, we will have tables. In table, we will have a record. We will have a record. That means row. Row is considered as a tuple. In the tuple, every value can be accessed with reference of field names. Column headers are called as what? Fields. Next, inside database, you will have view. Already we know this in MongoDB. What is a view? It is a virtual table. Na? View is a virtual table. So it comprises of temporary data. Data summarized using queries. Data summarized using queries can be stored in a view. And you already know you cannot modify data in view, but can use the data from view. So every database have views. So we have view. So in MySQL, same like MongoDB, but terms are different. Here we don't have collection. Instead of collection, we call them tables. No document. Document is referred as a row. Next, important in MySQL, you will find stored procedure. In MySQL, you will find a stored procedure. What is stored procedure is, if you remembered in JavaScript, I explained you that JavaScript have functions, methods. In general programming, you will have functions, methods, and procedures. You remember difference? What is difference between a method and a function? Generally, first point, tell me what is the purpose of a function? We learn technical term. Function is used for refactoring the code. Na? We can extract a set of lines and we can store under one reference. It is used for refactor. We are using function for refactoring. Actually, in programming, why we need refactoring? In order to reuse, easy to extend, easy to reuse. So, methods are used to refactor and methods are void type, means they don't return any value. Functions are used to refactor, but functions have to return. Procedure may or may not return the value. It can change according to the situation. In one situation, it will be void. In another situation, it will return. That means it have both behaviors. So procedures can have both behavior. Actually, in our JavaScript, we saw that function have both behavior, but we don't call them as procedure. Actually, procedure means it can be void or it can return. That means in database, some queries you need to use again and again. You need to make some changes in the queries and use them again. Then you don't need to write the query again and again. You can create a procedure. You can create a procedure. You can set up the query inside the procedure. We can make changes in the procedure whenever we call and use the procedure, just like function. Function can have parameters. Procedures also can have parameters. You can pass the parameter, you can modify the functionality. It is easy for reusing and easy for extending. So in real world projects, when we discuss procedures, we will learn more points. Actually, procedures are very important for avoiding injection attacks. Generally, we can write one query and it can execute the query. But in real time projects, we always prefer don't directly use query. Put the query in a procedure and use a procedure. It will be more safe and secure when compared to direct queries. Direct queries. So, what is a stored procedure? Actually, procedure procedure is used to refactor the code. Procedure is used to refactor the code. And refactor is the process of extracting a set of statements into a block. It enables easy reusability and extensibility. It enables easy reusability and extensibility. So we have procedure. Here you also have function. A function is used to build expression. Generally, expression executes and evaluates evaluates a value. Expression executes and evaluates a value. Function is used for building expression. It always returns a value. Function always returns a value. So we have functions and we have stored procedures. In MySQL, you will learn how to design them, how to use stored procedures and functions. And another important here is trigger. Generally, functions methods define actions. What action to perform, that is defined by using function. You remembered we learned about event. What is event? We have one technical definition about event. Event is a trigger. Actually, event sends a message, sender sends a message to its subscriber and notify the change so that it will perform the functionality. You return procedures, you return functions. Now to execute these procedures and functions, you can put a trigger. When a trigger is fired, automatically it can execute any function or procedure. Generally, functions and procedures we can call. Usually, we call these as batch programs, batch executions. Trigger can be used for such batch operation. Batch operation means a sequence of actions need to be performed one after another. Instead of calling those actions manually every time, we can attach to one trigger. For example, we have three functions to execute and we call three functions. But if you write all these three functions in a button click, on button click, it will execute all the three. Na? That means what is button click? It is a trigger to execute all the functions. A sequence of functions, procedures you want to execute repeatedly. Then for that, you can create triggers. Triggers will work like what? Events. Here we should not use the word officially events. Here we call them as what? Triggers. True. In database trigger. So a trigger is like an event which is used to execute function and procedure. Execute function and procedure. Triggers are used in designing batch operations. Batch is a sequence of actions performed with one trigger. Sequence of operations performed with one trigger. So these are important database related objects. Right. Actually, the major important database objects are these. So we know the complete point. Data is in database. In database, it is arranged in tables. Tables contains information in rows and columns. Every row represents a tuple. Tuple means collection of various types of values arranged in a sequential order in a structure, right? And every value in a table can be referred using a field, and regularly used queries result can be stored in a view so that we can use the query result again and again. But views cannot be modified now, right? And certain queries we need to execute regularly with few changes every time. Then we can create them as what? Procedures. To to design any logic which returns a value every time, we need functions. Functions are used for building expressions, and trigger is used to execute the functions and procedures. We can create batch operations. We can execute functions and procedures by using what? Triggers. By using trigger. So we are going to learn all these one by one. Means how to create and work and all this. Generally, to do this, so actually database contains some more. Depends on database. Actually, one small note I will give. Database can also have various other objects like forms, reports, macros. Depends on database. We have form, reports, macros. So it may have even BI objects. BI is business intelligence. BI and analytics. Etc. Business intelligence and analytics. Database can have forms, reports, macros, depends on database. Actually, form is for generally to interact with database, you need queries. Instead of writing the queries, we can create a UI, user interface. Form is a UI, na? It provides an UI. Through that UI, you can interact with the data. That means you have forms, reports. Reports are used for printing. That means preparing our content, data, ready for print. Suppose, can you print the table as it is? You cannot print the table as it is. To print the table, we need to design a report. We can generate one report, through that we can print. For example, a person booked a ticket. All the ticket information will be stored in database in a table, like his name, departure, date, time, arrival, date, time, PNR number, and everything. Once he wants to print the ticket, he will not print the table as it is. How it will be converted? The table generates a report. The report is suitable for printing. We need to print the report, so we can use the report for printing. PDF, you see bank statements and all, they generate what? Reports. Bank statement is nothing but it is an example of a report. It is an example of report. Database provides forms, reports, macros, business intelligence and analytic tools. For example, you have Oracle. You know Oracle have Oracle forms separate. Oracle have a database. You can directly work with the database. They have Oracle forms also. That means they have a UI. from where you can easily interact with the database. They have business intelligence, BI. They call it as OBIEE. OBIEE, Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Editions. You can see those are all not required, but I am telling you that database means not just data. They have a lot of different types of objects. For example, you see Oracle Forms. You can see this is Oracle Forms. Officially Oracle Forms this is. This is Oracle Forms. So this is Oracle Forms. You can see this is Oracle Forms. So that means it is, see, it is not just entering the data into database. It can do a lot of other things. You can see what they have designed. They say that they will provide web services like REST. And see, they have Oracle reports, analytics, business intelligence, BI and analytics tools. Am I right? That means database is not just enough. So database is just a store. It can have a lot of things around it. We have forms, we have reports and all this. We are not learning all this. That's the reason if a person have to be a professional in database, at least it will take 8 months, 1 year to learn all of them. 1 year minimum it will take to become a professional in database. It's not simple because learning queries, databases, business analytics, reporting services, every concept is huge. Every concept is huge. So here you see reporting services is one category. Forms is another category. You have to learn Oracle Forms, Oracle Database, Oracle Business Intelligence. Actually, it is OBIEE. This is Oracle Business Intelligence. This business intelligence uses database. It uses database. This is business intelligence. The way of analyzing the data, everything is done by using this BI. You remembered we discussed about one concept called ad hoc querying. Remembered the word when we discussed about MongoDB. I told you some of these terms we use. Officially, they don't use everywhere, but it is one important concept actually. Right? So, what is ad hoc querying? Remember? What is ad hoc querying? I given some features about MongoDB. Ad hoc querying is nothing but dynamically the queries are generated. That means usually we keep the queries ready. When anybody asks a question, we will execute the query and give the result. But if a business contains hundreds of queries, thousands of queries, we cannot keep the queries ready. We can design the queries according to his requirement. Means he's asking me something, live a query is built. I explained that. I showed you a website like Just Dial, right? So generally database is not just storing the data. We have a lot of things inside it. We have so many things inside it, right? So you are going to learn in this class. We are going to teach you this. We are going to teach you about database and we are going to learn tables, records, fields, views, stored procedures, functions, and triggers. We are going to learn about these key things. Actually, it has so many more concepts also, right? Initially, these are required for basic building the database according to our full stack projects, right? Now, how to do this? How you done this in your MongoDB? In MongoDB, how you create a database? By using some commands, na? By using some commands, you created the database, you return the queries and everything, right? You used insert method, you used delete method, update methods. By using them, you have communicated. Here, how you communicate. So we communicate by using SQL. So we communicate by using SQL. So it is what? Structured query language. SQL is a structured query language. It is a structured query language. So it is a language used to handle communication with database in RDBMS, in relational database management system. So this is not a language for users to communicate with. So developers communicate with the database using SQL as language. You call it as SQL or SQL. Anything is fine. So SQL provides a set of commands which are categorized categorized into various groups. There are so many. For major are what? DDL. So another one is DML and DCL. So SQL contains commands. These commands are categorized into different data definition language commands, data manipulation, right? First, we will see what they are one by one, how they are used, right? Data definition, data manipulation, and data control. These are three important options. So DDL is DDL is data definition language, which provides it is which provides commands for handling data definition, like creating database, views, procedures, triggers, etc. Defining a database, defining a view. So defining database, defining view, defining procedure, like this. So key point. Data definition means they are defining databases and all. Data definition. Another one is data DML, is data manipulation. So which provides commands for handling interactions with database procedures, triggers, etc. Filtering data, updating data, querying data, updating data, deleting data, all such things. So another one is data DCL, important. Data control language. What data control language will do? So which provides commands to handle authorization and authentication. Authorization and authentication. So here authorization is the process of restricting access, and authentication, the process of verifying credentials. Right. So we have, so what is important here is the commands are categorized into three: data definition, data manipulation, and data control. Three major options. Definition means creating database, configuring database and all, views, procedures and all of them. Manipulation, filtering, sorting and all. Control is authorization, authentication. What is difference between authorization and authentication is nothing but, suppose You are not allowed to open any PC. That means you are not allowed to open somebody's PC. That is, you are means that PC have authorization. PC have authorization means what? Everybody cannot access. They have authorization. Okay, how to access that PC which have authorization? By authentication. Authentication means by providing password, user ID, by providing PIN. This is called as what? Authentication. That means you are not allowed to use something. That is authorization. In order to use, you have to pass authentication. Verify yourself, then you can use it. Then that is called as authentication. Authorization will restrict, authentication will verify. If authentication is passed, then you are authorized. That is the difference between authorization and authentication. You are not allowing, but when you can allow, when he passed the authentication. So that means the later detailedly we will learn about that, right? So technically there is a difference between authorization and authentication. Authentication. Okay, now we will start with data definition language. We are going to start with the data definition language. So first we are going to understand data definition language. Data definition language related commands. We are going to start working with data definition. Key points already I told you. DDL is about configuring database procedures, views, triggers, etc. So create. Create is a command used for creating various objects. Use is a command for using object. And we have drop or not drop. These two are enough initially. Yeah? Create and use. So in the data definition, first what we are going to learn is we are going to learn about database, how we can work with the database. What is database? Already we know database is a store on server. So in RDBMS, in RDBMS, database is a schema. We call it is a schema. Schema comprises of structured data. It comprises of structured data. Structured data is good for analytics and analytic and reporting. Structured data is good for analytic and reporting, analytics and reporting. Right. So you can create a new database by using two techniques. What are those? Create database and a name, or create schema and a name. We can use two: create database and name, create schema and name. So a database can be created by using these two commands. You can use create database and database name, or we can use create schema and schema name. We can use these two techniques. Let's see how we can do. So I already told you we have command queries, or we can use what? GUI. GUI for MongoDB is graphical user interface. For MongoDB is Compass. For MySQL it is Workbench. So you installed a MySQL Workbench. This is MySQL Workbench. Let's open my connection. Oh, I think continue. Fine. This is the database. Now, this is the terminal. Terminal is nothing but from this is the GUI tool, and terminal. If you want, you can open the query window. You have a query. You can see the query window here. You can write the queries. Left side, you will see there is a schema category. Schema is nothing but database. And by default, we have a database called system. In the system database, you will have some tables. System configuration is the table. So we have some views, we have some stored procedures, and some functions. Actually, these are nothing but these are used for administering our entire server, database server. They are not required. We will learn how to create the database, how we create and configure the database. So, what is the default database? One small point I will give here. The default, the default database is sys, which refers to database server system. It comprises of tables, views, procedures, and functions for managing server system. They are managing server system. That is the default one. Right. So how we can create database? Graphically you can create, or you can create by using command. By using command. So here you can see this is the query. That is the query window. Here we have to write what? Create database and the database name. We can define the database name, or we can also use schema, right? Suppose this is database some sample DB. That is the database. After writing the command, you have to select the command. Control A will select the entire content. Control A. Then click on this execute. That execute button, when you click, the command is executed. Then you can see the result will come. That means it says that so database is created. You can see the database is created here. At the bottom, you can see command execution successful or not, it is going to show. And you have to just refresh the schemas and you can see there is a sample DB. By default, when you create a database, in that tables, views, stored procedures, and functions are present. You can add manually into them. So how we will see that? There is another option. Instead of using database, you can use what? Schema. Create schema and schema name. Suppose some demo DB, that is the schema, and execute. This is also going to create. And you can see it refresh. That is the data. Now in modern generation, so uh, while creating database, suppose already there is a schema called demo DB and you are creating again, create database, again demo DB and execute, then it will show a failure at the bottom. Why? Because database already exists by that name. You can check the queries, whether the query executed successfully or not, it will show at the bottom, right? So a simple option while creating database, but we have some important points. What is the point is, so here frequently asked question, some important question. What is character set for database? Why we need character set? This is important. Actually, while creating database, the character set is important. What is character set for database? Why we need character set? Actually, database can handle various types of data. Character set. Character set allows to configure complex data types. Character set allows to configure complex data types. So it controls the language. It controls the language, storage, and case sensitivity. So it controls the language and case sensitivity. Case sensitivity. So here very important is, generally in the modern generation of data, you will see complex data means Suppose we have a string. In a string means what are allowed? Alphabet, number, special characters. But when you mention the character set, it will allow emojis, a smiley emoji. Because in the modern web designing, we need the data with such symbols. Suppose you learned breadcrumb, na? Breadcrumb designs. When you learn breadcrumb design, breadcrumb can be separated with an arrow. But how we design that arrow using dot dot or hyphen hyphen greater than symbol. But we can allow emojis. We can allow multilingual content. Multilingual content means what? In different regional languages. That means data can be stored in English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu. These days, it is very important, right? For example, you see, so suppose in HTML also, na? Where is it? Yeah, roughly, I will show you here some pages there, right? Okay, you see here, I'm creating some drop down. So here I'm creating a drop down. Select is a drop down in that we have an option language. Here we have an option, I say English. I want Hindi in Hindi. I want Hindi in Hindi. Generally, what we do, if you want Hindi in Hindi, then let's go to Google Translate. In the Google Translate, you use this here. So Hindi, and it is converted to Hindi, right? Now, what you do is you copy this here and go and you paste it here. That means now what you can do here, you can put here the language Hindi is there. That means how you can put the multilingual content into the page. This type of data is not allowed in database if you don't mention the character set. So character set is important for handling this kind of data, which is very regularly required in the current generation of modern application, right? We can put emojis, we can copy emojis and put emojis, right? For example, suppose here you are looking for, so emojis for website. So emoji for websites, you see so many emojis will come. Such a, acha, this is being like, okay. Emoji for website. You can see these are emojis are there. Get emojis. These are different emojis we are having, right? You have different categories. You can copy this and you can use in your applications. You can copy and you can use, right? That means you can use them and you can define them. These are all different emojis. For example, I'm clicking on this emoji, copied, and you want to use here where you want to use here. Suppose we are having an style. What is it? Suppose you have unordered list. So unordered list, li, li, li we are having after. After li, what we have? Content. Content is what? Content in quote. You can have this symbol. You can have this symbol. That means now what happens? You are having a UL, in that you are having a LI. For example, UL, we defined list style as what? None. And LI is having like what? Some home, like home. So we are having LI like what? So electronics. So in that LI, we are having like mobiles. And you can see it is going to present them. And of course, you know how to do that display as what? Flex. That means it will keep in this way. Now, this kind of emojis or characters or multilingual content can be defined in a database only when you mention this. So, character set, char set allows emojis, multilingual content, etc. So that is the reason you have to mention the character set. And the character set, the char set used for emojis and multilingual is UTF-8, so MB4, UTF-8 MB4. And so, and it must collate with UTF-8 MB488 MB4 underscore Unicode underscore CI. This is the standard name for character set and collect. Character set and collect allows you to handle different types of content. Collect is like correlated with. So how do we create database actually to handle such modern is generally we need to write the command like this. So what is the command? Where is it? Yeah. So we have database. So let's create database name. Database name is, for example, I'm giving database name as already sample demo is there. Suppose project DB, that is the database name. Here we have to add character set, char set. And what is the character set? Character set requires UTF-8. So MB4 character set is UTF-8. So character set, not char set, shortcut it is character set. UTF-8 MB4. And we have to use collate. Collate, we have to set up, what is it? UTF-8 MB4. MB4 is there? Yeah. MB4 underscore, what is it? Unicode. Unicode, it is Unicode CI. You have to just use Unicode CI. This is the option you need to create and you need to generate. Now a database is created here. You can see a database is created with that particular character set. And this is very much required in the modern generation of data. You can see project DB. It looks like normal DB only, normal database only. But in these tables, it will allow complex data, which is not allowed in others. Right? In modern generation of website designing, these type of databases are very much required. That is the reason this is the best way to create a database for the modern websites. So you need to put this command, the query. So example query is this one. Remember at the end, you should end with a semicolon. Huh? If you haven't defined semicolon, that means it is continuing. Actually, you can write all this in one line. All this in one line. Just for clarity's sake, I separated. Let me keep this character set. And this is what? Collate. That's just a tradition. You can write any way you want. So this is very important in modern design. So create database name, and character set UTF-8 MB. Or what is UTF-8? I already explained when we learned about HTML, right? So Unicode transformation format, right? This is not mandatory, but this is good for the modern webs, especially data for web. Generally, if you are maintaining database for normal uh, business, you don't need these emojis and all. Especially when you are using such database content to show inside a website, connecting with any web application, this is good, right? So now we have a database. Now in the database where the data is stored inside table. Now how to create tables, that we'll see tomorrow, right? Creating tables, relationships, constraints, data types, so much is there. About table, it's a big concept. So we will see in tomorrow's session how to work with tables. Okay, right.